The Springboks suffered back-to-back defeats going down this weekend to Australia in Brisbane and now face the daunting task of an informed All Black side in Christchurch. To discuss Saturday's fixture a bit further in depth, I'm joined in studio by Sport24 editor Garen Lamley and chief rugby writer Rob Au-Yeung. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much for coming into our studio.
Hello, Nick.
Again, unfortunately, under sort of trying circumstances as far as the Boks are concerned. Rob, you wrote quite a scathing column this morning, so we're going to have a look at that a bit later. But first of all, Garen, are there any positives to take from Saturday's performance in Brisbane?
I'm afraid not. I think you'd be scratching if you had to come up with anything too positive, to be quite honest, Nick. You know, I almost get the feeling that the South African supporters are now expecting poor performances from the Boks every Saturday, and they're not even as upset. You know, in the beginning it was like a shock to lose to Ireland, then a couple of woeful performances against Argentina. Now, I don't know if anyone really thought we were going to beat Australia, and certainly nobody expects us to beat the All Blacks next weekend. You know, we got off to I think what they called a fast start, scoring 2 tries, I think neither of which were actually tries. I think Nice Porter even in studio admitted that the first try had a forward pass. There was some clear obstruction that later on Australia were upset about. Second try, Adrian Strauss a mile offside in midfield. I cannot believe the ref doesn't go back and review when a hooker intercepts in midfield. So that was a 14-point swing. You take away the 7 points for the first South African try. There was a later on in the match a contentious try that wasn't given to Australia. You know, the final score could quite easily have been 30 points to 3 with nothing really else have changed, just the ref actually blowing the game like it should have been blown, I think. So I think that's almost the gulf. You know, scoreboard doesn't always paint a true reflection of a game. Just quickly on the All Blacks Argentina game, everyone was praising the Argentina side for playing 50 minutes of great rugby, yet they outscored 8 tries to 1, lost by a mile, conceded 50-odd points. So the fact that South Africa were in the game only going down by 6 points, I don't think was a true reflection. You know, we picked up a bonus point, but we could quite easily have lost by 25, 30 points at the same time. So a lot to work on for Alex Garcia this week. You know, typically Alex, every match seems to find positives in the match. And I think Rob and I were discussing before the show that I struggle to agree with anything he sort of said. You know, he suggested that they bossed the breakdowns and their replacements added value and stuff like that. You know, I'm not sure which game he was actually watching at times. You know, I didn't think the replacements were that good at all. They were certainly going backwards when they came on with the new front row. Au-Yeung and got 5 or 6 minutes. You know, he didn't really have time to add anything to that. You know, they didn't really go forward in many scrums at all. Didn't come close to scoring any tries. I almost feel like they've even gone a bit backwards, if that's possible. So yeah, I'm really struggling to find any positives. You know, I'm not too sure what's going to happen in the next few days ahead of New Zealand. I don't think, you know, even on our best day with the ref having a totally one-sided approach to the match, that we could possibly beat the All Blacks. I think even if they are off their game, don't bring the A game to Christchurch, that they're still going to beat us by 20, 25 points. I had a quick look at the bookies. They already got New Zealand by 22-point favourites for that match. I can't remember in living memory when last the All Blacks had such an advantage, according to the bookies at least. So it could be a watershed moment for South African rugby. You know, we won 3 out of 6, 50% record this year. It's going to be 3 out of 7, I think, for sure after this weekend. Can't remember when the Boks started the year so badly. It doesn't get any easier with Australia and New Zealand to follow after that back in South Africa. I think even in South Africa we don't have that advantage anymore. So, you know, dire, dark times, I think, for South African rugby fans, unfortunately.